All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, my friend Lou, to episode 4
What's going on, Luke?
of Drinkin Dynasty with the boys. I got with me once again co-host Supreme, Sweet Lou. What's going on tonight, Sweet Lou?
Ready to get into this with you, man. We're going to discuss some trade values while enjoying a nice cold brew, man.
I'm gonna hit you with a. I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's your go-to grooming, beard, manicuring gear? What's your secret weapon for those looking to get in the game?
I forgot the name of the brand, but I think it's actually sponsored by James Harden. Houston Rockets used to be Houston Rockets' very own James Harden. But off the top of my head, man, I'll be lying to you. I don't remember the exact name, but it works pretty well.
He is the beard, but I don't know that
He is the beard.
necessarily top of mind when it comes to a well manicured beard. He had sort of a crazy man. I haven't seen his beard in a while though, so maybe he trimmed it up. I don't know.
I think he's still rocking the same beard, man.
He certainly trimmed up his scoring averages. That's way down from his peak. All right, we're not talking basketball here, Lou. Come on, Lou. All right, we are going to be talking about dynasty trade charts. Very exciting, very sensual dynasty football trade value charts. Looking at some guys we're looking at a couple of wide receiver rooms to see like who we like, who do we think is going to be, if not the top dog in 2024, who is the guy that we think is more valuable in a couple of wide receiver depth charts. But before that, let's start with the most important stuff, Lou. What are we drinking tonight, buddy? This is Drinkin Dynasty after all. Okay, what do we got? Yeah, ooh, that's a pretty one.
So this is called 1050. 1050. Let me say it correctly. That's from Oscar Blues Brewery. So it's an Imperial Stout. And if you hear me slurring words a little bit later, it's because this is at 12.5%. So I'm ready to rock, man.
Okay. I'm going to send you some trade offers. Don't look at them now. But after the show, I want you to look at them and just go with your heart.
Send my way, bro. It's all good.
Remember that it's all love. If the trade doesn't seem right, just remember that it's all love. And, love conquers all.
Love conquers all, for sure.
All right. I am going with an Old Faithful. I've been meaning to shout them out, and I'm going to go ahead and do a paid sponsorship readout for Community Beer Company here in Dallas. I've got Community Citrus Slice India Pale Ale,
nice.
And I'd like to take a moment to do a paid spiel for Community Beer Company. Community Beer Company, just a short drive up Irving Boulevard from the heart of downtown Dallas, Texas. Community Brewing has been the go-to choice for discerning Dallas drinkers far and wide since approximately 2012. So, if you're in Dallas and you want to tie a couple on, Community Beer Company is where you need to be. All right. So,
just based on that, I'm adding that to my list, man. When I finally come visit you in Dallas, we're going to have to go there, man.
We're a couple of Texas boys drinking some Texas beers. It's only fair that I do a paid promo for a Texas beer purveyor. They have not paid me, but, they might. Now they might. Certainly when I tell them that I did this, who knows? Maybe they'll give me a free six-pack at least. All right.
There you go.
So, Lou, you tell me, buddy, where do you feel like we should start tonight talking about the broader – because obviously, we're about 3 weeks out from the draft. A lot is getting ready to change in terms of, what a given player is worth. Values are going to be fluctuating. Obviously, the rookie values are going to be fluctuating big time when they start to land with NFL teams. Where are we starting tonight, my friend?
Honestly, I want to give a shout out to Fantasy Pros. The reason for this is because I think using tools when trying to evaluate trades is a great starting point, especially to make sure you're on the right track. If your fantasy index is awesome too, for sure. But yeah, so Fantasy Pros, they come out with a dynasty trade value chart every month. And they adjust the values based on, how the market's going.
Sure.
So I wanted to discuss some of the values they have here and see how you felt about everything.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with the most important position in football to get us started, man, the quarterback position. So some of the players I want to discuss right away is Caleb Williams, quarterback on the Dynasty Pros Dynasty trade chart, currently ranked 10 at a trade value of 87. And you know what? Let me backtrack this a little bit to kind of give you a reference point.
Sorry, I missed you.
Right now, the pick 101 for the 2025 draft is valued at 71. And somebody like Josh Allen is valued at 127, just to kind of give you perspective. So Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels are the top dogs right now when it comes to trading.
For sure.
So Caleb Williams valued at 87. CJ Stroud valued at 90. Drake Maye valued at 90. And Bo Nix valued at 78. How do you feel about those four guys? And where would you rank them?
Nix is quite a bit lower. That's interesting. Well, I think first things first, let's go with the caveat. Like, if you have any of these guys, that's a good thing. Like, I think we're relatively high on all these guys. Are there still, somewhat wide ranges of outcomes, especially for like Caleb, where we really don't know where, is this going to work or not? But yeah, so yeah, is the future written in stone for any of these guys? No, but the likely outcomes, the ones that make sense to like our guts, are mostly positive. All right, how do I rank those four? Oh, that's a tough one. You talk while I think.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you talk.
No, you're good. You're good. So honestly, I have Caleb Williams just based off like the high upside potential. Somebody who can provide some rushing upside.
For sure.
And honestly, the Bears are doing so much right now. Like, they've upgraded their offensive line. He has amazing weapons. So, I mean, dude better show up next year. Like, so right now I have him number one.
Wow.
After him, I'm gonna do Drake Maye. So some people might ask me, well, he's on a terrible team. He doesn't have the weapons yet. But let me say this stat line real quick, because this is about upside, right? In 13 games played, Drake Maye had 421 rushing yards in 13 games. So that lets me know his upside is potentially through the roof, and he did that on a terrible team, right? This is gonna hurt me. So this is kind of why I wore my Texans cap. If Bo Nix and CJ Stroud were on the draft board in a dynasty startup, I would probably draft CJ Stroud because that's my quarterback and my team. However, what I will say is I think Bo Nix has higher upside than CJ Stroud because he's on a team with Sean Payton. He also provides rushing upside. Just like CJ Stroud did his rookie year, I think they both finished number 7 in fantasy in their rookie years. So when we start talking about like who's a better quarterback, I'll probably say CJ Stroud. If we're talking about fantasy football upside, like who I think could probably win me a week, Bo Nix. And again, I'm a huge fan of CJ Stroud, but there was a lot of rough weeks last year.
There were. I mean, you could really make a case for any one of these guys at number one. I mean, I really think that's not just like me trying to like weasel out of the question. You really can. Like Stroud.
And you said something important at the beginning. Like, if you have any 4 of these guys on your team, you're happy. Like, you're in a good spot, I think. But my bad. Go ahead.
If any of these guys in a super flex league, if any of these guys are your QB1, I don't think you necessarily. Obviously depends on what else you have, but I don't think any of these guys being your QB1 is inherently like, that's bad. I need to do something here at quarterback. Obviously, if you have like Nix and Carr, that's not ideal. But if you have Nix and May or Nix and Darnold, even like that's not the end of the world. I'm gonna say yes. Stroud's not number one, really, just because of the rushing upside, especially so. For me, it really gets into league scoring becomes quite important when it comes to ranking these guys, because one thing that people don't often talk about is there are a lot of leagues that give 0.04 yards per passing yard. So 4 points for every 100 passing yards. And there's a lot of leagues that give 0.05 points per passing yard, so 5 points for every 100 passing yards. That's a big difference. A 300-yard passing game, that's 3 extra points with the 0.05 scoring versus 0.04. So that makes a significant difference. So, in 0.05, Stroud gets a bump, I think, because, Nico Collins, obviously, with Stephon Diggs gone, Tank Dell's future very uncertain. There's a lot of Bobby Slowick fired. There's a lot of uncertainty, but I'm still a believer in Nico Collins and just the DeMeco Ryans effect that he's had on this team in 2 years. And let's not forget the offensive line was terrible. I mean, it was really, really bad in Houston last year. He was running for his life a lot of the time, especially down the stretch. Injuries abound, not just at receiver but elsewhere. So, is Stroud stock down from its all-time high 12 months ago? Yes, of course it is. Stroud was Stroud was a universal top 3 fantasy dynasty quarterback 12 months ago. Certainly top 4. Mm-hmm. He was he wasn't quite Jaden Daniels' peak, but
I think people were contemplating him after Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
After his rookie season,
so if you went a dynasty startup last year and bought Stroud at that high price, you're hurting right now for sure. I think he will recoup a lot of that value in the short term. You're not gonna have to wait for him to get back in that direction. Is he gonna climb as high as he was? Who knows? But he's a good player. Is he elite? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's got Nico that can help you look pretty elite. So, but they need to. The Texans need to do some things in the draft. So I'm not going to put Stroud 1. Caleb 1 is so tough against Maye and Nix. I'll go with it because God. I'll stick with it because he did run for the most yards of the 4 last year. He ran for 490 yards. Did not get a rushing touchdown, unfortunately. Ran for 490 yards, though. He is a plus runner. And look at all the machinery around him. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. Who knows what they're going to add in the draft? Could be Ashton Genty. Could be, could be another,
Marion Hampton.
Yeah, it could be.
We'll see.
Could be a stud offensive lineman. Could be Will Campbell for all we know. So, they're probably gonna bring him help of some sort. And obviously Ben Johnson, that's Ben Johnson handpicked this team. Upgrade. He wanted to work with Caleb. That gets our attention. So I'll stay in on Caleb. But man, is that a little nerve-wracking to say, because Maye and Nix are for real. Maybe Nix is never going to be a superstar, but I think he's at least going to be running Matt Ryan. Well, maybe not Matt Ryan pass volume again. That gets into the 0.05 versus 0.04 scoring becomes critical. But he's going to be in the Hall of Very Good, I think. If not,
I agree.
Maye is the wild card. Maye, to me, that's the guy that you can look at and say in 12 months, oh shit, I wish I had so much more Drake Maye, because what he did on a terrible team that was going nowhere, that it turns out was gonna just up and fire their first year head coach at the end of the season because he was smoking a cigar on the plane on the way home from a loss. What kind of shit is that? That's the weakest thing I ever heard. He's smoking a cigar. You fire him? Robert Kraft, please. So what Maye did coming in there, he ran for as many rushing yards as Bo Nix did on barely half the attempts. He ran 52 times. Nix ran 90 times, and they both wound up with 425 rushing yards. So he's a legit runner. He may be a better runner than Caleb. I think that's still debatable, but they're both Mahomes plus. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Maye needs the weapons. So it's a question of do you believe in Caleb's hype pre-2024 and then also the cast, or do you believe in what Maye showed us on the field? Holy shit, this guy can play some ball with bums. So, yeah. But again, any of those guys is a good problem to have.
Definitely. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Maye was number 1 on this list starting next year, right? I mean, after next year. So, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with that Patriots team.
I would not be surprised if any of them were, honestly. If Nix comes out and balls, they bring in Evan Ingram. They're probably there's a good chance they draft a real receiver. Again, they're going to get running back help. What Nix did as a rookie, granted, an old man rookie, he was 30 as a rookie, but still comes in and with a pretty crappy cast. I know Cortland Sutton, it turns out, after all the years of us bragging on him, turns out he was legit. But that's it. That's all they had. Like Marvin Mims flashed a little bit here and there, but other than that, they had no running
And
backs.
what was the rookie they drafted? He didn't do too much.
Troy Franklin.
Man, his name is Troy Franklin, which I was high on him up until the NFL draft actually happened. So
I got kind of high on him before the draft, and then I kind of backed off, and then he fell in the draft. So I was like, all right, hold on.
Warning sign. All right, man. So I actually did a poll on this on our Fantasy Index Discord channel.
Nice.
By the way, if you're listening, join our Fantasy Index Discord. A lot of great people in there willing to give fantasy advice and help you out.
They don't know we're doing this, so I can't say their name, but this is the mothership, y'all.
So
I can say their name. Fantasy Index.
I have Rashee Rice, your boy, Rashee Rice, versus Xavier Worthy. So they're actually dead even on the trade value chart. I think Fantasy Pros has Xavier Worthy first and then Rashee Rice. Their trade value at the moment is 52.
Both of them?
What's your take on these guys?
Both of them are they're both that 52 number?
Even at 52.
Interesting. Okay, so that's a dead heat. Wow. I gotta go. So I happened to be. I finally, because I had Rice in several leagues, and it hurt me quite badly when he went down. So I didn't have the stomach to look at it before today. But I looked at what he was on pace for through 3 games last year: 136 receptions, 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns. He was cooking. I knew it was.
He was cooking.
I didn't know it was gonna be that much. So, I mean, Rice was staging what we referred to as a hostile takeover through the first 3 weeks last year, and I mean, it wasn't even like he was took an awkward step and his knee exploded. I mean, he got blown up by friendly fire from Mahomes getting blocked into him on an
crazy play. It's unfortunate that we don't. The torn LCL, that's a weird one. That's not one we see very often. ACL, MCL, even PCL, patella tendon, meniscus. These are the knee injuries we're familiar with. LCL is a weird one. Andy Reid gave an update saying he's on track to be ready for training camp, given the fact that even like a full tear of an LCL, from my own shade tree research, worst case scenario is like a 4-month rehab period. For him to be saying 6 months later he's on track to be ready for training camp, I take that as him being guarded, him not wanting to say too much, possibly because of Rice's unresolved legal situation. Maybe there's a little bit of suspension,
gamesmanship going on there, but also it's not great. I would certainly rather hear that Rashee Rice is ready to go. He's doing backflips in the hall and put me in, coach. So I don't love that, but I mean where I stand with Worthy. Like, did he have a lovely rookie season? Yes. Did he come on down the stretch? Yes, which is what you want to see from a rookie, is that they start to demand targets. But am I going to put him ahead of Rice because, Travis Kelce, Father Time started to finally catch up with him and the Chiefs just didn't have anybody else? I'm not ready to do that. He is very undersized. He's like 165 pounds. I don't believe this guy necessarily can deal with getting jammed consistently. Or any sort of, press physical coverage. Yeah, sure. A guy with 4.2 speed, you're not going to want to jam him too often unless you have help over the top. But with where the Chiefs' offense has gone over the last 2.5, 3 seasons, Rice is so much easier to project. His floor is so much higher, season long and also week to week. So for me, it's Rice pretty much hands down. I know there's people out there who are skittish about the suspension. I mean, what the worst case scenario is like 4 weeks, and I don't even think it's going to be that.
We play the game. We're talking about dynasty fantasy football, so I mean, like you gotta show patience, right? So honestly, if I had Worthy and somebody sent me a trade offering me Rashee Rice for Worthy, I wouldn't even think twice, man. I'm with you. I agree. I think what Rashee Rice showed at the beginning of the season, I think he's becoming Mahomes' like security blanket on that team, and it was just smooth, man. Like I also had him in a money league on a redraft, and when he went down, man, I had a few guys go down in that league, but that shit hurt. But yeah, Rashee Rice, 100%. Like With them being the same trade value, I'm actually a little bit surprised. I know with what Xavier Worthy did near the end of the season in the playoffs, the dude has a bunch of talent, a bunch of potential, but I just see Rashee Rice as the more consistent of the two. I think Worthy is going to have some big blow up games, but I think if we're talking about consistency and trying to win on a weekly basis in fantasy, it's Rice. It's Rice on that.
Best ball league, totally different animal. Then yeah, Worthy needs to be on your radar in a much bigger way and a much more prioritized way. But in weekly fantasy, where you're setting a conventional lineup and your bench players can't score points for you, yeah, it's Rice for me.
Awesome, man. You ready to move on to the next guys?
Let's do it. Who else you got?
Perfect. So we have Ricky Pearsall versus Brandon Aiyuk. So Ricky Pearsall currently has a trade value of 47 and Brandon Aiyuk at 45. And just to recap, Pearsall right now, he's 24 years old. Aiyuk is 27.
But he's got the bag. 27 with the bag.
He has the bag.
Is the difference. So, look, a lot of people were going to say Aiyuk, and I'm sure. And I know you put a poll in the server for this too. And at last I saw it was a dead heat. So which reflects the Fantasy Pros data right now. Part of this is a gut thing. Part of this is looking at the forest for the trees thing for me. Aiyuk has been in the doghouse with Shanahan at various points already in his young career. 2021, I believe it was, he got off the team plane for preseason with his PlayStation 5, which had just come out, and apparently Shanahan was not a big fan of that. And
can you blame him?
Exactly, Kyle. Don't you even game, bro? God. Shanahan doghoused him. He famously comes out and has the 0 catch game in week 1, and he's just a complete fantasy dud for the first half of the season. Starts to come around down the stretch finally. And then, 2022, 2023, he turns it on. 2023 in particular, trying to get the bag. Gets the bag. But, never mind the ACL tear, which was late enough in the season that it's clearly going to complicate his 2025. Aiyuk has had weird feuds, weird drama with the Niners multiple times before. Last year was about wearing black shorts at practice during the week in season. 49ers dress code is you got to wear black shorts. Aiyuk didn't want to do it. He got sent home. He got sent to the locker room because he wouldn't put on the right color shirt. That's a small thing. It's a dumb thing, but it's consistent with a broader trend of there are guys, perhaps you could even say disproportionately wide receiver, who are really good in the year before and year of the contract year. They're playing for that, maybe they're a little more extra motivated. They want to get the money. Once they get the money, foot comes off the gas a little bit. So between that and the drama with Shanahan and the Niners and the knee, for me it's Pearsall. I loved Pearsall. He was like my secret. I was like praying, please go somewhere crappy. Don't go somewhere.
Me too.
Just looking at his tape and looking at his comment, I was like, oh my God. And then he goes to the Niners, crap. Now everyone's gonna know. So I love Pearsall, and then obviously, unfortunately, he gets shot for reasons don't fully understand. Looks like he's gonna pull through, so that's good. But yeah, for me, it's Pearsall. It's not close. Aiyuk, it's too many yellow flags for me.
Yeah, we're agreeing with the first two wide receiver groups we brought up. But
you're flipping to Pearsall.
I'm with you. It's a good.
Okay.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall, man. Just because I'm on the same page as you as far as he was one of my I wanted him on my teams last year in rookie drafts. Unfortunately, I got sniped twice, 2 different leagues. He was the pick right before mine. And Brandon Aiyuk, he's so talented, man. But for many years, he's been kind of on my do not draft list. He's kind of a guy, even in redraft, that I kind of avoid. Now, the other thing with this too, and I know we're talking about dynasty, so again, patience and all that, but yeah, will Aiyuk be ready to start the season? And then what's the target share going to look like on that team? I'm just going to roll with the younger receiver who I believe has the talent. So I'm going Pearsall as well on that.
So the stat that really cemented it for me, because I knew I had some reluctance about Aiyuk even going into 2024, because with questions like, okay, can he really repeat this season? In 2023, when he had 1,342 receiving yards, very strong season. Brandon Aiyuk had one more target for the entire 2023 season than Elijah Moore. How is that even possible? First off, Elijah Moore, who finished with a whopping 640 receiving yards. Granted, some differences between the Cleveland Browns and the San Francisco 49ers, but still, like, his 2023 was never going to be repeatable. I don't think he's ever had more than 115 targets in any season. 114 in 2022 was his high. So we're talking about a guy who, to date, even at his best, does not command volume like a wide receiver one. And that's partially the knock-on effect.
Exactly.
The 49ers don't want to throw the ball a lot if they don't have to. They want to be playing from ahead and playing ball control, which that's, hey, yeah, who doesn't? So, and now, like, Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, like, is that gonna go? Is he gonna go back in the box now just so that
Juwan Jennings is talented, man. Like that, he's not a joke on that team, man. He could definitely command targets. Honestly, if I have Aiyuk on, I don't have him on any of my rosters, but if I did, I'd be, just for my gut feeling, I'd be trying to trade him. I'd be trying to get off of him.
If there's a 49ers fan in your league that's a believer, I would push Aiyuk
ship him out
hard.
All right, man. Let's talk about this next group of guys. I have Chris Olave, trade value 48. That's a guy that's really dropped a lot in value. Versus Emeka Egbuka, trade value of 49.
I think this is where we're going to break. So I know Emeka Egbuka is a good young player, and I'm sure NFL coaches, teams are going to love him, already do love him from sitting with him and talking with him. I just worry that he's not enough. So Aiyuk, a little bit of a diva, a little bit of a, me guy, to the point of it being a concern. I realize I'm kind of talking on both sides of my mouth here, but to me it makes sense. Egbuka, not enough of a me guy. He's a little bit too selfless, I think, for the NFL, where dudes are trying to get paid. NIL money is guaranteed.
So you don't think he has that dog in him, basically?
He's got a different dog. He doesn't have the bulldog with the spiked collar. He's got like a golden retriever in him, which is still a great dog. Who doesn't love a golden retriever?
Awesome dog, yeah.
But that's not a dog that's going to intimidate you into feeding it. So, well, maybe like an older one. Anyway, I'm not saying like he can't hit. Like if he lands like with the Lions, for example, which to me seems pretty plausible. Maybe not the Lions, but with the right landing spot, he could walk into a significant amount of volume in 2025. But I think he's being mentioned with like my bad. I think he's being mentioned with like the Texans. He's being mentioned with the Broncos, the Jaguars, the Titans. Bunch of potential landing spots. Yeah. So I'm sure if the Titans could trade down from one back into like the middle of the teens or something, that he would be on their radar. I mean, they've said they know they have to do a lot of work at wide receiver. So sure. It's just for me at the moment, it's hard to forecast from where we sit right now a situation that's especially beneficial to Egbuka from a fantasy standpoint over the next 2 seasons. I'm not ever looking more than 2 seasons down the road. To me, that's too much. There's too much uncertainty. Even 2 seasons down the road, I don't like. So I get that he's a borderline first round talent in this draft. Probably will go in the first round. I'm just struggling to see like ceiling. I want ceiling in a guy that I'm considering taking in like the first 8 picks of a rookie draft. I'm having trouble seeing the ceiling with Egbuka. I see the ceiling with Olave. I see it. If he can stop concussing himself or being concussed. Sorry, it's not his fault. I don't want to victim blame here. But when he has been on the field, he has looked like a true number one. Hasn't been on the field enough. Has had issues with quarterback play and nagging injuries. but the peripherals, the metrics on him have always been good when he's been able to stay healthy. So I got to go with that. Is he a risk? Sure, but who isn't outside of Saquon Barkley? And even then, knock on wood.
Exactly. So I'm gonna be on the opposite end as you. I love Chris Olave. Like you're right, he's the wide receiver one on that team when healthy. His injury history for me is a concern. So I think if I got to kind of reset, I wouldn't mind resetting with somebody like Egbuka, which you already know that I'm really high on him.
Yep.
Like I think in this rookie draft, if Travis Hunter goes to a good spot where he's going to be a wide receiver, I think Emeka is easily my wide receiver 3 in this upcoming rookie class. That dude does everything well, and I think he could provide the same floor as Olave, right?
Could. Well,
so I mean, if
Olave's floor is very questionable, so yes, he could.
I'm talking about when things are going good, right? When he's not concussed. But I think again, he's not on the team right now. We haven't seen him on the field in the NFL, but I think I would be okay with trading off Olave and bringing in Emeka. And whoever drafts him is gonna love him, man. Like that dude blocks. He does everything right. So
that's but that. For me, I've learned that, like, I'm better off trusting my gut than not trusting my gut. I've gone against my gut, and it's burned me more than it hasn't. So yeah. My gut tells me that Egbuka could suffer from the Mac Hollins effect. A lot of people don't know.
Let me say that.
No, I'm not saying he's going to be Mac Hollins. I'm saying the Mac Hollins effect, wherein does he have the ability to be a high-volume, target monster potentially in the NFL? Sure. Mac Hollins could have been great. I'm just going to say it. Mac Hollins could have been a fantasy mainstay in our hobby. He could have. That wasn't important enough to him for it to happen. And he was good at like playing special teams and run blocking and running around with no shoes on. He's just a weirdo, a crazy person who doesn't care about the things that everybody else cares about. I'm worried Egbuka could be too much of a team first guy for his own good when it comes to fantasy football. That is really my main concern. And then also, watching his tape, I'm like, this guy has 4.4 speed. Where is it? Where's the speed? I want to see the speed. I didn't see him run away from a defense and make everyone look like they were standing still. I didn't see that. Now, a lot of the guys who dominate in football right now run in the 4.5s. I mean, Rashee Rice runs a 4.5. Aiyuk runs a 4.5 when healthy. So, running in the 4.3s is not necessary, but I still want to see, like in college, even going to Ohio State and playing against real programs like Michigan, Penn State, I want to see you make these guys look like they don't belong in the same building as you. And I never saw that with Egbuka. So that's my thing. Anyway.
Interesting, man. Interesting. I respect that take. And Olave is a hell of a player,
I was totally wrong about the 2022 receivers. I'm going to say it right now. I had Treylon Burks at the top. That was wrong. So don't take what I'm saying as gospel.
Ooh. Yeah, the Titans really fumbled that one, man. So
that hurt. I still believe.
With the next segment, man, I'm gonna have you make a decision.
Okay.
So we're about to do some quick hits. I'm gonna mention a player, and then I'm gonna mention 3 players after that player to see if you'd rather have that player or the players I mentioned. So should we drink on if we'd rather keep that player? Or should we drink if we choose the other player?
It's a good question. We should drink if we're taking the other player. Yeah, we'll do that.
Perfect. I'm going to show you this real quick. I need to learn how to podcast and pour, man, because this is a terrible pour. Not good.
Is that your Starbucks order? You got extra whip.
For real. All right, man. So these next 2 players I'm going to mention, I've been hearing on the streets of Dynasty Fantasy Football that they're not the easy players to trade off of at the moment. Mm-hmm. So
there's a few.
I'm going to mention DK Metcalf, trade chart value of 53. All right, you ready?
I think so.
DK Metcalf or Zay Flowers, who has a value of 56?
I'm safe. I don't have to drink, but I'm going to get an extra beer just in case. Hopefully you have to drink while I run away.
There you go. There you go. I'm with you on that. While you're going to get the beer, I think Zay Flowers is very talented. He's younger than DK, but I think Metcalf, we'll see who his quarterback is. I think he just provides the higher upside on a weekly basis.
I will
so
say
that's my take on that.
I will say that I was adamant last summer. Last summer I was adamant, guys. Zay Flowers is a false prophet. You need to get out on him in Dynasty. If you got away with it for 1 year, great, but you need to sell him. The end is coming. I was wrong. I was wrong about that. Zay Flowers, at times,
good, man.
He was elite last year. He still couldn't put it together over 17 games, which, I mean, hey, that's true of a lot of young receivers, being able to stay dominant like that over the long haul. But he has softened my resolve that small guys just can't get it done. I'm still squeamish about it because him, Josh Downs, they're the two poster children for like, hey, small guys can do it well too.
Well, I love Josh Downs. I hate the team, but it's kind of the same thing with Zay Flowers. Like, I think he's very talented, but the Ravens are an amazing team. But I think his upside is just limited by the team, right? So,
but Lamar's pass volume is way up the last 2 seasons, and they're not going to go away from that when it's working so well. I mean, the Ravens had one of the best offenses in the league again last year. They were on pace to set a record for average yards per play for most of the season. I mean, they were killing teams. So, I mean, the case for Zay Flowers is not significantly different from the case for Rashee Rice, which is crazy for me to be saying because I hated Zay Flowers. I mean, I really hated him. And now I'm like, okay, I mean, as much as I want it to happen, Rashad Bateman's maybe just not going to be more than what he was in 2024, if he's even going to be that again. So Mark Andrews is getting up there. Yeah, sure. Isaiah Likely's waiting in the wings, but yeah, being attached to Lamar Jackson's pretty good. It's a pretty good thing. So, but
real quick before I get into the next guy, just a train of thought that hit me. So Zay Flowers trade value 56, Rashee Rice 52. Give me Rashee Rice all day. On that.
I'm staying with Rice. I'm not saying that they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying I had a hard heart against Zay Flowers. It's thawed quite a bit. Now, whereas before I wouldn't even consider a trade offer that included Flowers. Now I would consider it. So that's all I'm saying is he showed me something last year.
Definitely. So the next guy on the list, a trade value of 52. We have DJ Moore, and then that means I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Prost. So I love DK Metcalf. even with the nightmare landing spot in Pittsburgh, maybe they're going to trade Pickens. I mean, George Pickens keeps this crap up. He's not going to be a Steeler forever. I mean, there's just some things the Steelers don't tolerate. So that could happen anytime. Pickens is in a contract year, folks, lest we forget. So the DK Metcalf trade and mega contract certainly sets the table for a Pickens trade. Earlier today, I was pontificating in the Discord like, hey, Titans need a receiver, Steelers need a quarterback. Maybe they can work something out. I mean, I don't know. So DK Metcalf, if that happens, and even if it doesn't, like being across from Pickens is not a bad thing. Aaron Rodgers comes in at some point, which we still think is probably going to happen. And, sure, but they probably pair him with a rookie quarterback, whatever. Even Mason Rudolph is not the worst.
Get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with Mason Rudolph with DK Metcalf. Rudolph fed Pickens down the stretch in 2023 when he was last a Steeler. So, yeah, I'm still in on Metcalf, but yeah, DJ Moore, come on. I mean, he could turn into Amon-Ra St. Brown supercharged now. So yeah, DJ Moore is awesome.
I agree with that, man. This next player, also with the trade value of 52, Jordan Addison.
It's a little bit the Aiyuk thing. Like, love the talent. The guy can play, but is he going to stop crashing leased Lamborghinis into
let him enjoy his life, Luke. Let him live his best life, man.
I'm not begrudging him that. I just don't want, my dynasty build to hang on his ability to stay out of defensive driving school. That's the only thing. So, and then obviously like Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, like what is his season-long ceiling really? And that, plus now, like, they had Cousins, got rid of him. They had Darnold, got rid of him. Like, could McCarthy come out and be a stud right from the get-go? Sure. I mean, it's clearly with Kevin O'Connell, all things are possible. Mm-hmm. But there's enough uncertainty there where I'm like, you know what? DK Metcalf is a monster. He could play out this contract in Pittsburgh. He could get all 5 years of this. He really could. So that has some real appeal. Who knows who the quarterback will be in 2 years in Pittsburgh? Could be somebody good. So, yeah, I'll stay with Metcalf, and Jordan Addison can get his third strike on somebody else's team.
So Jordan Addison, like, he's a very talented receiver, but this pick is more on a potential upside on a week-to-week basis. Like, I feel more comfortable starting DK Metcalf, even though we don't know who his quarterback is as of yet, over Addison on a weekly basis, because there's still Justin Jefferson, there's TJ Hawkinson, there's, it's like Addison's going to definitely have some big weeks, but I expect Metcalf to be more consistent. So that's why
the number 3 or number 2A, whatever option in the offense, in a much better offense, granted, or the number 1 in a worse offense. I see it both ways.
Number 1 paid option.
$30 million a year too. Like, that's not nothing. That's and keep in mind that's $30 million a year from the Steelers. That's like $50 million a year from the Cowboys. So I mean, they really believe in this guy. Yeah, I believe. I know it's been a while since Metcalf really did the dirty, got dirty, damp, and deep with like 15 touchdowns from the Russ Wilson heyday. But I still believe. So yeah, I'm sticking with DK.
Let's switch to our next guy.
As I switch to a unique wheat from, once again, Community Beer Company in Dallas, Texas.
Let's go Community, man. Hell yeah.
They're going to give us cease and desist.
The next guy we're going to discuss is actually just recently got brought up. I'm hearing this from the streets, the Dynasty streets.
Out here on these streets.
He's kind of hard to trade at the moment.
It is.
Is George Pickens. Trade value 43. You ready?
I'm not going to be drinking much. Depending on how.
You don't think so?
Go ahead. We'll see.
All right. I'm gonna get into some rookies. You ready? Let's do this. Travis Hunter, trade value of 41 at the moment. I think his value is lower because we don't know his percentage versus like actually playing wide receiver versus cornerback. But I'll tell you what, I'm drinking because I think Travis Hunter has a higher upside at the moment than George Pickens if he lands in the right spot.
Didn't know you were going to go with Travis Hunter. That's a little bit of dirty pool. I'm gonna
drink up.
I'm gonna not drink.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Not drink. I'm going to not drink. Go ahead. Who's the next guy? Or talk about Travis Hunter if you want.
No, what's your take, though? George Pickens versus
I'm going to talk about Pickens at some point, but let's hear, for the sake of runtime, who's the next guy?
Next guy.
Travis Hunter, it's like we don't know. Like we need to respect the fact that Travis Hunter really is uncharted waters. We haven't had a guy seriously come into the league talking about, I'm going to play both ways at the top of the draft, commanding top dollar value in our lifetimes. I mean, who was Deion Sanders isn't even a good example. The Falcons had a guy who played baseball and football, which is not even the same thing. So it's just, it's uncharted waters. It's enough risk where you can't tell me that he is definitely going to play more than 50% of the snaps on offense in either of the next 2 seasons. You can't tell me that. If you can't tell me that,
100%. Yeah, so a lot of mock drafts have him going to the Some people are saying he might fall with the Browns. He might fall with the Patriots. If one of those two landing spots happen, then I'm willing to take the chance and dive all in because I think he would play mostly wide receiver for both of those teams, and he would probably be the number one. Well, definitely with the Patriots, I think he'd be the number one, and then with the Browns, I think he could overtake Judy for sure.
Stephon Diggs is going to be the number one right away, though.
Yeah, but 31-year-old Stephon Diggs coming off a torn ACL.
But
yeah, man, give me Travis Hunter.
Going to the disaster zone that is Cleveland, where they're you don't even know how they're gonna screw this up, but you just know that they're gonna because it's the Browns. Like he could go to the Browns, that's not good. He could go to the Giants, hoo boy, and he could go to the Patriots. Okay, like it's not all smooth sailing here for this guy in 2025.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Anyway,
I got you.
On to the next guy. I'm gonna get my Pickens take in. I'm sure.
Okay, so this next guy's been climbing up the rankings. He's at a trade value of 42. Matthew Golden or George Pickens.
No drink for me.
Oh man, hold on, let me think on this. They're saying Matthew Golden might get first round. He might be drafted in the first round, right?
Sure.
So if that happens, I'll go ahead and reset the clock with George Pickens, man. And George Pickens is still very young.
Very.
But I'm gonna drink.
Fair. Golden, like I haven't. I'm gonna watch more tape. I need to watch a bunch of tape on several guys to really be fully ready by the time our gauntlet of rookie drafts get started. But what I've seen of him so far just didn't blow my skirt up enough. I know he's shooting up the board. I have him lumped in with Egbuka right now, personally. Now, like I said, I'm going to reevaluate. Okay. That's where I'm at right now. So right now, I'm not drinking.
Me personally, I have, just for the audience, I have Egbuka over Golden, but some people have Golden going in the first and maybe Egbuka in the second. So we'll see what happens on draft day.
Yeah, they both feel like first rounders to me right now, which is not nothing.
This is the last guy. Actually, let's do two more guys. Okay. The next rookie, Luther Burden at trade value of 38 or George Pickens.
I liked Burden a lot, and I have cooled off on Burden.
A lot of people have.
I'm not. I mean, he could be better than Egbuka or Golden. Like I said, I'm gonna chow on a bunch of tape in the next couple weeks. Right now, I'm like, where's the? This guy was a 5-star recruit. Where's the 5-star tape? Like I'm just not good player. Potentially, kind of a. I don't want to call him Curtis Samuel, but potentially on the Curtis Samuel spectrum in the NFL, which is not great. So, yeah, I'm not drinking on that one. Girlfriend.
Man, I love George Pickens. I love his talent, but he's yet to deliver like a big time fantasy football season.
True.
I'm thinking about just like, again, taking a chance on another player. I know we're going to learn more when the draft actually happens, but I think just going based on upside, because we haven't seen George Pickens deliver that like that wide receiver season. I think I'll take a drink on this and re-roll with Luther Burden.
Fair.
So
Pickens' top finish in half PPR to date is wide receiver 26. That's not exactly league winning. True.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly. Right, I haven't been able to trust him on a week-to-week basis.
Very much so. And now DK Metcalf arrives. So that's, yeah. All right, who's our last comp here, Louis?
This one's going to be hard, I think, because of the age difference. Trade value 44, Tyreek Hill or George Pickens.
I'm not going to fault somebody. Pardon me. I'm not gonna fault somebody who wants to go and get that piece to be dangerous in 2024, make a deep run in 2024, that wants to do that. For me, I'm not drinking on that one, but I totally see the argument. Like, Tyreek Hill is a huge bounce back candidate for me. Yes, right now it's a little testy. We're not 100% sure he's going to be a Dolphin in 2025. We think he is, but things are a little bit. If you want Tyreek Hill to be a Dolphin in 2025, which if you own him, that is what you want. You prefer that for him and the Dolphins to be on better grounds, on better terms going into the draft, for sure. So there's definitely torpedoes in the water on Tyreek when it comes to being a Dolphin for one more season. But, yeah, if you can get Tyreek Hill at any sort of discount right now, I'm all about it. He can give you 100 receptions. How many guys can you say that about with a straight face? Not that many.
Yeah, I think for me, the age plays a huge difference.
For sure.
I mean, if I was all in winning, like definitely Tyreek Hill would come up. But I think for dynasty purposes, I'm not gonna drink on this one. I'm gonna take the 23-year-old receiver with potential. But
there are a lot of people.
I mean, if I was
on Pickens, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, if I was to bet money, like I think Tyreek Hill might have the better year next year. But for like dynasty purpose, I'm with you on this. Like, give me George Pickens, and let's see how he performs next to Metcalf, or if he ends up somewhere else.
Now, I didn't drink on any of those guys, so I got to say my Pickens piece now. I think Pickens is a bona fide alpha receiver in the NFL. Period. I think he can eat the whole chicken by himself. I'm that much of a believer. This guy is a physical freak. To be as big as he is and as fast as he is, and have as good of hands as he does, and be as tough and as physical as he is, like, there's very few guys that have the all-around skill set that George Pickens possesses. Yes. Has he failed to put it together over a full season in fantasy? Yes, he has. I lay the blame for that 100% at the feet of the Steelers. They have not been a competent operation offensively for years now. They've been in the wilderness since Big Ben left. And really even before that, because last year or two of Big Ben was not good. So they've been
He did feed my boy Najee, though. I appreciate him for that. His final season.
They've been lost for a long time. They don't know what to do with Pickens. They don't know how to be a modern offense in today's NFL. They just don't know how to do it. At some point, theoretically, they'll give themselves over to somebody that has demonstrated that, hey, I know how to win in the modern NFL and score points in the process. Mike Tomlin knows how to win, kind of, but he doesn't know how to. Yeah. So I think Pickens is going to get out of Pittsburgh either, in the next 6 months, or certainly after like 2025, maybe 2026. He's going to get out of there. Someone's going to pay him a lot of money, and he's going to be a monster. So I think Pickens is a huge buy low target in Dynasty. You have to trust what your eyes are telling you when you watch this guy against NFL caliber competition. He jumps off the screen to me. He always has. So
he does. He makes some amazing catches. Like sometimes when I watch him play, like when I watch the Steelers, I'm like, damn, this guy is so talented. But again, he hasn't put it together yet to be like a top wide receiver in fantasy football. So it's just, can he do it? He has the talent to do it.
He flashed down the stretch in 2023 with Mason Rudolph. Okay, he went. I think it was 4 catches for 175 yards, I believe, in like week 15, and then had another big game in week 17 against the Seahawks. And that was with Mason Rudolph. No disrespect to Mason Rudolph, maybe some disrespect, but he's not a stud quarterback in the NFL in all likelihood. So yeah, I just, my gut is screaming at me. Pickens is for real. Either the Steelers are going to figure out how to use him, and now that's the thing. Now they're fully committed to DK Metcalf. So even if they realize, oh, wow, what have we been doing here? George Pickens is amazing. What are they going to do? They're going to pay him both? The Steelers? I don't see it. So I think Pickens is going somewhere else, and I think he's going to be a monster when he does, and I think you want to be on that ride.
Well, I like it. I like it. Do you think, real quick, Aaron Rodgers can unlock him?
Pickens? In a vacuum. If we're just talking this player's abilities with this player's abilities, absolutely. Rodgers has other considerations, favoritism, and, can I trust that this guy is going to run the routes my way and is going to see plays develop my way? Especially considering like the contract they just gave DK Metcalf, I would imagine Rodgers' top priority is going to be DK Metcalf because he's a veteran, because he's not as boisterous as George Pickens has shown the capacity to be. Although DK Metcalf got pretty loud at the end of the season last year in Seattle, and he had a hand in getting Ryan Grubb, the first-year offensive coordinator, fired. That is real. DK Metcalf was part of that because he was not happy. Now the Seahawks wound up trading him anyway. But at the time, that was because DK Metcalf was not happy. So DK Metcalf wants the ball too, but he's got the contract. So the contract says you're going to get the ball in all likelihood. So no, just coming full circle, no, but not because Aaron Rodgers couldn't, just that he wouldn't. So
Interesting. Yeah, again, I believe in the talent. I just want to see it. I just want to see it happen for George Pickens on the field. And then, unfortunately, Steelers wide receivers have a bad rep at the moment. I mean, we got Antonio Brown, we have Deontay Johnson, and it's just like, so if you go to a new team and you don't have that Steelers foundation behind you, are you going to crack? And so far, wide receivers have been cracking. So we'll see.
Like I said, use that to get a bigger discount on your George Pickens buy.
There you go.
Be like, hey,
bring up in your trade conversations.
Exactly. This guy's going to be released by the Texans in 6 months now that he's not a Steeler. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? Yeah.
Awesome, man. Hey, well, that's kind of like the last question I had for you, man. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we cut this short?
We did want to do, just for those of you listening out there, we did want to do a little piece where we give each other, the opportunity to critique or give advice for a fantasy dilemma that both of us are having with our respective dynasty rosters. We'll move that to our next time though, because we are already at an hour runtime. You get to talking about these guys and you just get caught up in it. It's a problem. But no, I think
we're having a good time, man. We're drinking beer. We're talking football. I mean, shit, it's a good time, man.
Hopefully next time we'll have some questions submitted from the field that we can dig into. But if not, we'll bounce it off of each other, man to man.
Simone.
All right. Well,
Luke.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, always a pleasure talking to you, man.
Likewise. Thanks for cracking a few with me. I have a still mostly full beer here. That's a new one. It's because I like Pickens so much. Pickens kept me dry. Pickens
kept you safe, man. I was drinking on Pickens.
Pickens drink blocked me. All right. Well, thanks for joining, Lou. A pleasure as always. We will be back probably next week, schedules and general lifestyle permitting, for episode 5. We'll figure out what it's going to be about then. We don't know. Could be anything. We could be talking about, Rachaad White getting traded to the Raiders. We don't know. We'll find out then. Actually, that one sounds kind of real. That could happen. All right. Well, see you next time, buddy. Have a good night.
Thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in.